MERN stack and all the other nonsense that I really didn't care about during my engineering. But I was a Flutter developer. I did a lot of freelancing out here in Bangalore. And afterwards, I just started exploring myself as an engineer. So, yeah. So, disclaimer, I'm not the financial expert here, but the only reason that I choose this as a topic, actually, I'm planning to do one more session which actually involves a lot of algorithms and things like that. So if possible, we will actually do that. We'll actually do that. Don't worry for that. And MBA in ML is a different story that is coming on July 6th. That's there. So disclaimer that I'm not a financial expert, and I just started reading books from Ashwath Damodaran, the best of the best lecturer that you can see in the field of MBA marketing and things like that. He's from NYU Stern, and I used to read his book over the course of time, like when I was in ninth and 10th. The first book that I read from him was Dark Side of Valuation, and that really took me to a new height. That is, like, I wanted to explore a lot about myself, and I just told, like, okay, let's just ponder upon the problem statement rather than thinking about what should be the solution and what should I be working on it. So that's the only thing. So that's the end of the disclaimer. So who am I? The best of me is yet to be explored by me itself. So yeah, that's a long story short. And I'm just building myself to be the best engineer. So that's what it is all about. Simple as that. I'm also a technician who doesn't care about much of a programming language, but I care about the solution. I'm just addicted to the solution. No matter what, we'll just get it. If it asks for an Angular, we'll go for the Angular. If it asks for the React, it will go for the React. Simple as that. Started a boring engineer and ended up as a full stack guy. That's what I am doing right now. So I just love problem statements, and that's it. And I'm also a big community guy. Like, I'm in TFUG Bengaluru chapter, and I'm also in other communities like PyData Bioinformatics, where I'm also coming out with a new problem called as Open Glia. So you guys can hop into my Open Glia project, and where we will be working on cells, stem cells, and I have a lot of mentors who are coming up, and we are actually expanding this open research that we are doing right now to every person, so on. So what we dwell with is a problem statement, nothing more, nothing less, just nothing. So at the end of the day, let me just say, hey Google, what's the share of Tesla today?
As of 7:09 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time yesterday, Tesla is trading at 600.
Once again, I'll increase my volume.
Nasdaq after hours, down 0.43% from closing.
Hey Google, volume 99%. Hey Google, volume 99%. Sure. Hey Google, what's the price of Tesla shares?
On the website cardeco.com, they say
Stop.
its prices are
Hey
expected
Google,
to be
stop.
upwards of.
See, sometimes it doesn't even get the intent or the insights of what it is. So simple as that, this is what your problem statement is all about. I want to talk about the shares, but the volume was set at like 20%. That's what I did before the session and the recording. So it didn't give you that much amount of a sound, but later on it started speaking in a very bright voice. So it's not the problem of the machine, it's the problem of what we are programming. Right now, everything that you're doing is what you are solving it as a problem statement. Let it be 10 research papers, 20 research papers, 30 research papers that you are intending to write. Everything is a problem statement. So fine. Business things, man. So over the biggest disease is overthinking, never thinking of the bad guys, and like we are just happening, and we are just overestimating the probability of we working in the future. So it's like, okay, if I can build a proper Google Assistant, it will solve my problem. What it will solve? It doesn't solve anything. And this can be hacked. And there are a lot of ways that you can do phishing through the Node MCU. Node MCU can be easily attached to it and the things like that. So that's where I'm saying about this bad guys scenario, where you're not thinking about the bad part of this research and everything. So anything bad can happen, and we overestimate it. Like, okay, I'm building an project in Java or Go language, and this is going to be true. So this is how dumb we as programmers can get. Over the course of time, I've also written a lot of research papers and things like that. So typically, we start with this agenda of the talk. We tell about like what is this, what is that, data engineering over globe, and banking and the finance industry, scope of AI ML in the financial sectors, and all the things. We just discuss about all the aspects that we can think about. And let's just start with the basic definition of what make you intelligent. You learn to recognize, you make mistakes, you learn from it, you make sure that you learn from the learned aspects, you can relate to some learning, and you sometimes go with your gut feelings. And trust me, there are humongous amount of people who have really told me that my gut feeling used to say that today I'll win 1,000 rupees worth of shares, and 99% of the time they have won, but some days they have just gone out to be like, I didn't get anything from my gut feeling today. It happens. So there are people like that, but not me, because I don't believe in that. So we also learn to create perspective, and we learn from the work, learn to work, sorry for my title, work with it. So meanwhile, AI today is just trying to mimic the senses, that is like vision and the intelligence plus NLP and the intelligence. So it's computer vision, natural language processing, where we are just going to have a lot of linguistics and the communication aspects built on a burning box like CPU, GPU, TPU, HPU, holographic processor. So today's podcast I'll be sharing that will be actually based on this. So both of them wants perception and perspectives. So perception is how you feel, touch, hear, and things like that. Perspectives are like what do you think about after feeling something that you touched. Like I have this Rubik's cube. I have not yet solved. I don't know how to solve this. This is 5x5 Rubik's cube. So I know it twists and turns, and I can experiment with it. So if you give it to a machine which is not programmed to experiment with an Rubik's cube, it will not do that. So over the course of time, what I also demonstrated is that it lacks insight and intent. But we are trying to program insights and intent into all these applications. So over the course of time, machine learning. I have a lot of typos, dude. Sorry, because of my other kinds of. Yep, I think done. So I think this image should actually give you a perspective of like what it is all about. So machine learning is some kind of a probability and a mathematical approach that we thought, okay, brain as these kinds of function emitted like through a form of an EEG or the things like that, but we are just trying to mimic that function. So that's what it is all about. So machine trying to converse with a human level intelligence. So over the course of time, what is machine learning? Machine learning is a study of computer algorithms that improves automatically through the experience by the use of data. This use of data is something which is more unique. It's is seen as a part of artificial intelligence. It's a subset of artificial intelligence. Like everything comes under it. So when you type in machine learning in Google, Google will come out with this amount of definitions. Hey, this is happening, that is happening, and all the kind of nonsense. And let me just go to the next thing. So machine learning has a lot of stereotypes. So unsupervised, supervised, reinforcement learning. So what this is all about is basically machine learning is the root, and everything that is being said is basically like supervised is something like you have the data set, you have the answers, so it needs to learn the patterns there. So unsupervised learning is like you don't know anything about the patterns, you don't know anything about it. You have a chunk of data set and your pickle file, PMML file, H5 file, TF-Lite file, and all these has to make some decisions. Models can also be built as an JSON, JavaScript object notation. So that's a different story. Over the course of time, you actually go on with lot of techniques to learn something new, make some new revisions in your understanding, And that's how it is. But a machine can never do that. As long as you don't feed in the data, it can never get the new insight that is. I'll come to this part in the real-time analysis, real-time training and things like that. So what is data? I just talked a lot about data and all the nonsense like that. So what is data? When you go to Google, it comes out with all these amount of definitions like, hey, this is what data is all about and how to work beyond it and how to see how it works. And this much of definition just for the data. And forget machine learning. I think you have to take another lifetime to learn what is machine learning. So don't ponder upon the fact that data is huge. There are data engineers who are specialized in doing that. Like in our firm, there are people who are like collecting data and just getting the data sorted. Like I'm also doing a part of the team. Like if I get bored, I just go there and I say that, hey, just give me some task and I just go on with it. So what's an information? Even though I made a typo, since Google knew that there was a typo and it corrected itself and it made it because previously it knew that human makes mistake. Like I made mistake, other people made mistake. So that's the chunk of data that it had and it started learning from it. So that's where your data comes into the picture. And data provides intelligence and data provides information for the neural network that you have coded. Simple. So data for the feature and the attributes. What's the difference between attributes and feature is the must know thing. An attribute is an aspect of an instance, like can be a temperature, can be a known value and known factor in your data set, and you can start working on it. And attributes are often called as features in machine learning. A special attribute is a class or the label that defines a class or the instance that belong to that learning criteria. Like if I show a 5 cross 5 Rubik's Cube and I just use a teachable machines, I think I'll go there and I'll put the teachable machines. Oh. So if we can go here, image projects, standard image projects, nothing else, nothing more, and hold to record. Wait. So I train a lot of these images and I go to the class 2, I say class 2, simple as that. So if I train it, of course there are a lot of difference between the amount of data that I have taken, but you will get to know why it is all about. Like it's going to take a lot of time and we'll just go back and we'll just do our work. Let it keep training. Let's just give some work to the Google. As soon as the difference between features and the attributes, it's just like you getting to know 0.001% of the most important thing that you can ever build using a machine learning or a deep learning algorithm. And you can try to write a research paper on this because most of the times parameters and hyperparameters are misunderstood. Parameters are something like, okay, when we are training them, we just take these parameters and we just put it. Hyperparameters are also used for tuning neural networks, but when? How? You get a chance to write a paper. So just go to the basics of it. I've got a very stipulated time. I can't go throughout the basics, but you can go there. So let me just talk about the data generation part. Everything is a data. Me talking to a Google Assistant is a data. Me just chatting on my phone is a data. Me just wearing an Fitbit is a data. Okay, I'll show you one of my research. This is actually a hand grip dynamometer. An electric one, we use it for precision and we just hold it like this and we measure for the hypothyroid patients and the hypothyroid patients, and that's a data to me, but nobody cares about it, but I care about it. So let me just say you how your data sets are also being generated. Different private sectors and public sectors have still work on the cloud. I'll say it openly, your industry runs on cloud, but your labs run on a Pentium processor, like a kind of an old level cliche. Like I think probably there has to be a lot of invent of the cloud in your labs, and I think probably it's going to be more interesting for you, and you will not get overwhelmed by the fact that there is a cloud computer existing. It's just a simple computer, but it has more powerful. Simple as that. So everything goes and sits there on the cloud. Whatever you type, whatever you say, whatever you talk to any person, today it goes and sits to that time. Everything becomes that connected data. Like everything is getting chain linked to one or the other factors. Like that's the parameter, hyperparameters of what the company needs. Google is not that fair enough to give you all features for free. They take your data. Simple as that. What is a banking industry? Since you got to know some little insights about what is this data science and all these kinds of nonsensical aspect, which is for the financial guys, but very, very important things for all the engineers like us. Let's just go back to what is that banking industry. Banking industry is a sector which handles a lot of cash, credits, and other kinds of financial transaction. So every time you say Alexa, set, not Alexa, I had an Alexa before. So it's a Google Assistant. So it's like, hey Google, get me an appointment to the barber near me or something like that. So there is a set of data generated that you have like 0.5% probability. 0.5 is your probability of you going there and getting the barber haircut and things like that. Simple as that. Google, what it does is it gets to know your usage patterns and it makes sure that you are spending this much, you are spending that much, and that's a financial data to them. So just saying you what it is. So credits are like you just have some money and you spend it. Debits are like you just take the money which is there and later on you go and pay the interest to it. Kind of a thing. So financial industry is something which is a sector or a section in somebody wants to ask something, I think so. Do anybody wants to ask something? No, okay, fine. Sorry for it. Fine, folks. So let's just go on with it. So I think if it would be better if you can mute your this one. Yeah, fine,
Yeah.
dude, fine. So scope of AI and ML in the industry, customers engagement and automation will be the key aspect here. So everything is a data, everything becomes a form factor for the intelligence tomorrow. So because you know their patterns, because you know where they are working, so you can get a chance to understand what this user is also all about. So you can target them and say that, hey, this guy is working on this aspect and things like that. So investment predictions are these, where you can think of like what is the actual investment prediction. Man, Parul, mute your phone at least. So when you go for the investment prediction, so this is what happens. So it's a pretty big task. And 1 second. Hello? Yeah. Wait. I think none of you called, right? I think. Okay, fine. I thought I had some issue with that. Fine, dude. So keep in your mind, you need somebody to guide you. So that's a subject matter expert. So they're as simple as just this Tony Stark and who is just working here. So what skills does fraud analysis and all these things matter is basically like, is your payment methodologies qualified to be very qualified to just get the credit from a bank or a debit from a bank? So it's like usage patterns. Like you have never gone to an pawn shop. I've never gone to a pawn shop and you can't really mess around with the pawn guy, say that, hey, just going to only pay you 20 rupees or 30 rupees. Like you can just go to a pawn shop and you can just spend some money. But your usage pattern is not like you are not using pawn shop every day. But there will be a pattern where every day somebody you just uses the credits and just gets a pawn and just goes out or something like that. So that becomes a very big problem statement to everybody in the future. So like, okay, this customer is going to a pawn shop once in a week or once in a month, but we see that there is a transaction happening for like 3 hours once or 4 hours once, like somebody might have hacked it or something. So that's where your fraud analysis comes to the picture. So risk analysis has a lot of things. I think probably the stress testing is one of my best thing that I could have ever done, because trust me, stress testing is also done in all your agile methodologies, Six Sigma methodologies, and things like that. Don't get overwhelmed by all these kinds of jargons. It's all filled with jargons when it comes to the financial sectors and the development process. So I think stress testing is something like how much can be that fault tolerance. Like if I don't deliver the project, how much will be the fault tolerance of the production environment? Like I recently gave a talk on DevOps, where in our firm I generally told them like I'm an SD1, but I do work a little bit on DevOps and kind of a nonsense like that. So what we do is I just told them just open the production for a month in an year to everybody to access it. Then the amount of results that we got, because we used to feel that sometimes this production is going down because of some plugins that we have installed or some blah 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 nonsense like that. So I just gave a plan, and it's actually we are writing a paper on it also on DevOps and things like that. So actually we have written a paper and it's about to get published. It's under the review, and that's where we get to know the pattern. So risk analysis is not just for the financial sector; it's also there in your agile methodologies, Scrum methodologies, and all these kind of managerial jobs. Like there are roles like Prodman, Genman roles. I'll talk in the MBA and ML session. So real-time analysis, this is what you guys are waiting for. So I'll show you how it works. All right, who is this? Hello? Yeah? One second, sorry, man. I thought you guys are calling me because of the session. Fine, that is true. So data is processed in batches and buckets. So we need minimum latency system. BIFS is business intelligence and financial sectors is basically where you're just going out and just saying that, hey, this is what my system needs. This is what my system just needs to revolve around. Like if it's making money with respect to the credits and the debits, it has to make money with respect to the credits and the debits only. So the kind of an working aspect, so risk assessments are basically the one which comes out, and all your fraud analysis and things like that. So these are the projects that I can say to you. So let me just go to some hands-on. Like this is a stock market application that is deployed on Streamlit, and this is an amazing tool. Streamlit is basically a PaaS, product as a service based. It's like something like you have this gold and it costs you, kind of a things like that. So you guys can get to know about the PaaS, IaaS, and everything if we do something on cloud. And trust me, this is one of the application which I wrote for Daimler, Nvidia, and this is like multi-stock analysis. Like I'm taking the stock analysis of 2019 to 2021, 30. Like Jan 30th, I'm taking. Like if I go for Jan 31st, it will change. It's not a big change, but it's running and it's showing me different results. So let's just go on with March 25th. What happened to Nvidia? So this is a simple app that I wrote using Finance. I think if there is any doubts, I'm ready to take it right now. So any guys, any doubts, just hop in and just say me you have any doubts and I can clarify that. Like you can ask me anything. Utkarsh, there are any doubts in the comments?
No, as of now, we don't have any doubts. You all can also put your questions in the chat box. I'll read it.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure. You guys can put that. You guys can put that. Vishal
Parul.
Goyal, Parul Goyal. Yeah, Parul, you can say. You have raised your hands, right? Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, have you ever tried your hands in the derivative market and used these models for trading, like individually, not just for yourself?
I don't use it because I'll say you why. I work on a theory called as game theory.
Oh yes.
So I think you're on final year, Parul.
No, I am 19 years old. I'm studying machine learning to make
Okay, fine. I'll say you how. There are different models for it. Like what you told was something which is very close to like how do you make prediction and things like that. But there are Bayesian models even for that, and there are other models even for that. So I would just say like if you want to really build something like this is just this application that I showed you right now is just like an 10-year stock analysis, 13-year I think so. I think it's 2 4 6 13 years old stock analysis. Like I can just go here, I can see how the line plots works and all these kind of things. So I'll say you how all these models works. All these models works based on your data set that you're getting. Right now I can say you like you swipe your credit card in Gucci store and you come back down and you take a cafe coffee day coffee somewhere. So now your pattern is changing. So all these differential models doesn't work there. So that's where we are going on with this game theory thing. So I work on game theory aspects and I build models for PMML style, not the H5 and the pickled files. And I think that's where we also are trying to move more towards the edge. Like your Fitbit can make a decision for you to purchase this or purchase that, and kind of things like that. So we work on different problem statement. So I work on game theory. I'll be coming to game theory very soon, but like I just wanted to show you these demos so that you guys can. I think I clarified your doubts. I have never used that. I'm working on game theory. Parallel is your doubt cleared.
Yes, yeah.
Sure. Let me just go on with this demo aspect. So simple as that. Everything is in GitHub Actions. I think Parul, you have to mute yourself.
Oh,
Okay, so let me just go on to the stock app multiple. So that's what I showed you guys. This is the stock app multiple. Like I'll show you where you can actually put your. Let me just say, I want to somebody come up with some company, like Goldman Sachs. I have already put it here. Like some other company, like any other company that you want to actually listen to your stocks on. Or anybody.
TCS.
TCS. Okay, fine. TCS stock. I think it should be associated with some other company, NASDAQ or something, but let's just try with this. TCS. Commit it. It's committed. Refresh it. Starts with NVIDIA, my favorite one. So yeah, TCS is there. Oh, the container store. Oh, I think it didn't come out with this Tata consultancy service, but it came out with something else. Fine. This is from Y Finance. Y Finance API is basically the one where you guys can get to just pip install Y Finance, and you can, TCS NS. Let's just try with this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't matter. So I have this TCS.ns. Let's just see. If it works, it works. So let me just refresh it. TCS NS. Let's just see. Wow, it came. So Tata Consultancy Limited, blah, 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 IT enabled service worldwide, and ticker data is basically where it's just taking in the data and it's just giving out between these two time frames, like lot of shares and closing and opening. I'll say what's the difference between your closing and the opening shares. Closing shares is basically like at the end of the performance, like it has performed the best, it has performed the worst. What was the closing price? Like if they just close the market, what was the closing price? The volume price is something like, I'll come up with the volume price also. The volume price is something like, it's like I've spent 1 lakh. So I bought this many shares. The next second, how many people bought how many shares for the same 1 lakh? So that's a very lame explanation that I can give for you guys right now, because I actually had to sit with a CFA certified level 1. I think my screen is shared. Cool. So CFA certification. So this is a kind of a certification for the chartered financial analysts and all. We had to sit with a lot of chartered financial assistant analysts, a lot of CAs, CS people. I'll say why CA, CS people come into that, because CA people, CS people study law as one of their services. So I had to sit with them, ask them like, what should I do? What should I not I do? And what should be my study criteria? Like if I'm going for the shares tomorrow, what will be my risk? Lot of things. So there are other disclaimers. So before the slide, I added a disclaimer that don't try this also. So this is something which is cool. Like you are just calling an API through one program, and you are actually using Finance and Pandas. Cufflinks is basically the same library where you can actually get to know like what's the plots and what are these kind of styles of plots that we can do. So this is using Plotly, this is using Plotly, and all these are using cufflinks, and all these are also can be plotted using your Plotly also, but like Plotly is an advanced version of it. So cufflinks and quad figures and all these kind of things. So don't worry, just go through this entire code that I've given. You will get to know, and I'll show you what I did for this thing. Like it's very easy that I knew I had some shares of these companies, and actually I don't have any shares, but like I had the codes of these companies. I took the Finance and I started plotting all these from the same old documentation that we get. So Streamlit is an amazing tool, so you guys can go there and check it out. And it's an open source tool, and it's an open source cloud also. It gives you 3 services, and you can use it completely for free, and you can just throw it off if you don't want it. Like I can also show you one more repository of mine, which is Streamlit tutorial, I think so. Wait, I'm also Streamlit tutorial. Yep. Oh, April I did. Not even added anything, man. Slides, and yeah, these are like select sliders and all these methods. Like you guys can just go on and add any of these, adding 2 lines. Like you guys can just go on with this tutorial that I've kept here, and you guys can just move on with it. So I'll be sharing this link to you guys, and hopefully you guys make the best use of it. Like sorry for my laziness, I could not do much of my work. I think if you guys want to learn something as a Docker, I've made a very good notes for it, so you guys can just go here, just get to know what is this and things like that. Yeah, I've also done some code for all the things. Like this is a complete set of tutorial that you need for all these things, and it's very simple. Like you guys can get to know like what is the amount of work that goes in. Like it's just API jugaad. Your deep learning, machine learning, AI, everything is an API jugaad. You should know how to make an API call and things like that, and so on. And let me just go on with some papers, and I'll share the link of some papers. You guys can study it. I know this isn't very advanced level talk, but trust me, if I go to the absolute theory behind the game theory, you guys will be like, ऐसा इंसान पढ़ते हैं क्या? Like I literally, it's like 2 years of work in here, and I've literally told to myself, oh my god, what I'm studying also. Like there are some days where I have told it to myself, and there are some days where I've consoled myself and like, okay, things like that. So FinBrain is basically, let's just move on with the papers and the things like that. So FinBrain is basically one of the financial analysis research that is happening based on AI. So you guys can go and read this paper. Also, this is an amazing paper. You guys have to read this, because to get to know what is that intelligence and all these kinds of new world jargons that is coming off with this financial tech, fintech, and all these kind of things, you need to know that fairness is something like, I'm making a decision, I'm like, neither this, neither that. It can never happen. Which is true, I have to go there. So there is an intent of the game theory inside all these kind of technologies. So that's why I'm in game theory research for like from past 2 years. I'm just working on game theory and all these things. And we are also coming up with a paper on game theory. So yeah, very soon. I can't say you because it's not even under the review. So sorry for that. So this is 2019 paper, amazing papers. You guys can go there and check out all these aspects because it covers everything regarding data. It covers regarding everything about the biases which you find in the data. Biases are something like, okay, the data is more inclined towards the positive examples only. It is not taking that negative examples. Kind of a thing like that. So you guys can learn from this paper also. I think I didn't share this. I will share this paper.
Uh, w- Vishwas, I would just like to interrupt you on the biases thing. Like before this session, we actually had a session on biases caused by AI. So the whole video is actually available. It was a really good session, basically
Mhm.
on the biases which are caused by AI. So I can put the link in the chat box. I'll do that.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. You can do that. You can do that. I think deep learning in the financial application. This is a survey paper, like something what I told about the review paper. You guys can go there, and you guys can go and follow me on Twitter because I don't know how, but I have followed almost of all the archive people and everybody that I could find. You can go to my Twitter here, archive at sea. Like, don't subscribe to all of them, but like subscribe to some of them. Like, they're pretty cool. I don't think African archive anything you can go, but like I've subscribed to human computer interaction, computer languages. Archive daily is an amazing, and I think DeepLearning.AI is an amazing platform to learn, and you guys can go here and check this out. Deepak Chopra, an amazing person, so you guys can go here and check it. So if you guys didn't see what Archive is something like this. Archive is very cool. So sorry for my Archive. Archive is something which is very cool, and you guys can go here, check out all the subjects. You won't believe the per day statistics of the Archive paper. Per day papers in Archive. So you guys can go here and like just check it out. Like this is the amount of papers that 100 or something odd papers gets uploaded every day. Like some weird papers. Like seriously, it's too amazing. So I think I would suggest you guys to go on to this page and you guys can just check out what is happening here. And let's just go back to my Chrome. Where are you, my dear Chrome? I think I'll share all the papers. Don't worry about it. So just study that there. So that's it, folks. I think that is what I would love to say. And meanwhile, I'm actually hosting a lot of events on the Pi and AI Bengaluru chapter. This is Jason Maes. I'll show you who is Jason Maes. Sorry for my typos, not typos. Jason Maes. He's basically the dev rel and the developer advocate of TFJS, an amazing speaker and a narrator. You guys can join me. I'll share the link. Actually, I'll share the link of this event so you guys can join here. So it's basically a meet and greet for all of you. So you guys can go here. Send the game theory paper. Wait. Sorry for, yep. You guys can study this paper. This is an amazing paper actually. And tomorrow we have a talk with Ligi Thomas, an amazing person from Valorant Reply. And trust me, you don't have to be an absolute programmer for learning all these technologies. So Azure Cognitive Search is an amazing tool. So you guys can hop in for this session. This is going to be an amazing session. And this is from Vishwanath Shankar sir, one of my favorite people in this entire planet in the dev community that I ever found. And he's giving 3-part session on 10th, 17th, and 24th of July. So hop in, guys. You guys can get to know what's the amount of knowledge that you can get. And Ajay is an amazing person. You guys can hop in and learn what's about AWS. So this is me, Vishwas Narayan. I also do sessions on cybersecurity, things like that. I'm working in SDE1 as an in the Growth Alley EHF, but I'm also hungry for something more. So this is what my tagline says. Yeah, this is what I could ever give you guys that gyan that I have, but I'm open for questions now. So you guys can ask me any questions regarding AI and computer vision. And also in the session that I talked. You guys can unmute yourself and ask me any questions that you want. And every concept that I told you is an hour session. So I just made sure that I compiled it in a very shorter time. I think so. Yeah, I did it in a very shorter time. So you guys can ask me any question right now.
Uh, Vishwas, I'd just like to point out one thing. Like if you all could just fill out the feedback form, because all the resources which Vishwas has used during the session, I'll be sharing it via email to all of you. So yeah, that would
I
be
think,
really
yeah,
helpful.
Parul, like, yeah, I thought you are a boy. Sorry for it. So you can ask me any questions. Sailesh, Nair, K, Suraj, Kiram, Abram, Kannan, and the other six more guys. I forgot your names. You guys can ask me any question. Don't worry about it. So we can work on it. If you guys want to write any papers, you can. Yep.
I'm a beginner in this field, so I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say it was a very amazing session.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for putting in the efforts. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I think probably I will just cover an last thing about like what is this game theory and all these kind of things. Like just 5 minutes, so bear with me. That's it, simple as that. So we ended up here, and this is what game theory is all about. It's just a strategic interaction. It's like you playing a card. Wait, I'll even show you. Richard Turner, an amazing card mechanic. You guys have to watch this documentary Delt. DALT, not Dali. Delt, an amazing documentary. It's available in online platform. Like you guys can just go on and check it out. And game theory is just a strategic way. It's like playing cards. You guys can get to know what is it. So probability is something like you have to understand what is the probability that I'm going to lift a pen and I'm going to write on my notepad. It's zero because I made my slides here. Simple as that. So keeping all these minds, all the researchers, we work on plausibility. Plausibility is different from possibility. Possibility is different from probability, because plausibility is like it's going to happen, but we don't know how. Possibility is like it is for sure going to happen. Probability is something like it might happen. So if you go for an MBA research based on ML and things like that, these three words are like the favorite for all the professors, and even Ashwath Damodharan that I talked about. Damodharan sir is here. An amazing person. I'll show you which books. So Dark Side of Valuation. Dark Side of Valuation. This is an amazing book. If you guys want to check in and check out with, like, if you want to really say to yourself, like, I should do something in the world of fintech, I think I would love you guys to read this book. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, ask me a question. I'll not leave anybody if you don't ask any questions right now. So, any questions? I know all are studying students. I'm also a final year student, like 8th sem, getting out of my college thing. I'm also planning for my master's, so I'll be a lifelong student, guys. So I can understand your things, but like, ask me a question. Like, ask me what's your full name? What's the reason behind your full name? Kind of things like that. It would be great if you guys can ask me any questions. All right. Guys, any questions? Questions? Fine, guys. Let's just say a goodbye to you guys now. So I'll be back at when it's on July 6th, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back on July 6th, and yeah, we can make more of an MBA. Like I'll be talking about some colleges and things like that, and some research which is happening in the colleges also, so you guys can join in with that. Hopefully, guys, thank you so much, and it was a wonderful session from my side. I think so. If it's wonderful, just give me a thumbs up or say me in the comment, very nice session or something like that. It makes my day. Yep. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Vishwas, for joining with us. Like, the session was really great, and like I got to know a lot of things. I hope all the participants also gained a lot of knowledge from the whole session. Yeah,
Yeah, it's my pleasure giving a session. I love to talk. So yeah, that's it, man. Nothing
sure.
more about it.
Okay, guys, if you all don't have any questions, so I guess we could wrap up. Like, we just wait for 1 or 2 minutes if someone is typing or something like.
Yeah, I know. Somebody has to type something. Thank you for your efforts, Vishwas. Parul. Okay, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the again shares vote. Fine, guys. I think this session will be live in YouTube because they are recording it. So I think Arya, you can stop the recording right now so that we can